Hello again, Rubensteiners. It's me, Isabel. Today, we're at the Ecological Center here to talk to you about experiential learning in the Rubenstein School. Follow me. Experiential learning is an essential part of Rubenstein's curriculum that distinguishes it from other learning experiences. Two great course offerings that highlight this are Advanced Ecological Design, offered by Eric Roy, and The Greening of Rubenstein, offered by Gary Hawley. I'm going to go into these classes today and talk to some students to give you a better sense for what this hands-on learning actually looks like here in Rubenstein. Catch you out in the field. Hello! I'm here with the Ensc 185 class, The Greening of Rubenstein, and their lovely professor, Gary Hawley.
Recently, I've been working with students like this to try to advance the Rubenstein School towards super energy efficiency in our buildings. First, we quantify the amount of energy that our buildings use over time. We've been doing that since about 2013 or 14. And then we use resources to determine how we can make our buildings more efficient. And the last step is to acquire renewable energies, such as you see here, to mitigate the amount of energy that we still use in our buildings after they're as efficient as we can get them.
Let's talk to some of the students. So Adrian, I'm seeing two different arrays of panels here. Can you tell me a little bit about the difference between them?
Absolutely. So what's right behind us are tracking panel. The panels actually follow the sun. And so each panel actually picks up more energy, absorbs more energy than if it was just sitting on the ground. Part of our project is looking at the difference between the two based on the area that they take up, which actually produces more energy for the university.
All right, Reed, tell me a little bit about renewable energy certificates.
Yeah, totally. So one renewable energy certificate is the equivalent of 1 megawatt hour generated by a renewable energy source. So part of our project has been to figure out just how much renewable energy that we are currently generating. Yeah. And so after we get that data, then we can figure out just how many buildings in Rubenstein we can declare as net zero. And we're hoping that we can make the Ecological Center, the Bittersweet Building, and the Forestry Center right behind me all net zero after this.
So Lauren, tell me a little bit about what it means to you as students to have UVM be working towards declaring themselves or buildings as net zero.
I was definitely drawn to UVM because of the aspect of sustainability, and I think Rubenstein has all these amazing facilities that we can try and consider Aiken net zero, or like the Rube Lab, or even the new hybrid vessel. And doing that through solar, really renewable source, is amazing.
And what have you enjoyed most about coming to work in the field and getting out of the classroom?
I think just being able to put what I've learned in the classes into action and seeing how we can actually make change on campus and for the greater community as a whole.
Tell me a little bit about, first of all, so these are, which kind of solar panels are these compared to those ones over there?
These are trackers, so they track the sun. So this guy here, it's called an inverter. So that switches DC. It inverts DC from DC to AC. But it's metered on the way, so we know exactly how much renewable energy this unit is producing versus that one, and we know how much the fixed panels are producing at any one time. It's actually moving, so it's following the sun, yeah?
So we got some different groups working together, piecing together information, collaborating on this lovely project. The magic of Rubenstein.
So magical.
Collaboration and integration. Love to see it. Hey friends, let's go check out the Aquaponics build in the makerspace. Aquaponics is a food production system that couples aquaculture, which is raising aquatic animals, with hydroponics, which is growing plants in water. Over here, we have the media bed. It uses a nutrient film technique to keep water circulating before being transferred into the tank here that will soon house the tilapia fish, providing fertilizer and nutrients for the plants to continue to grow. Now let's talk to some real experts, the students.
I think we both done hydroponics.
Yeah.
which is just like without the fish, and you add like nutrients versus like aquaponics, the fish waste like fertilizes the plants.
This is NFT, and it's called nutrient film technique, so the water just kind of runs through, and there's just like a small
Explain the
film.
noises.
Yeah, so the media bed is more of like a deep water culture technique where the water kind of just sits, and the plants, it's more sitting water.
Like filter and drain.
Yeah.
So for the substrate, we're not going to use dirt. We're using these clay balls, which are like semi-porous, and they provide a lot of surface area for microbes to grow. So we've just been soaking them in water with ammonium to kind of kickstart microbe population growth, which basically converts ammonium to nitrate, which is safe for the fish.
And how much input do you have in the building creating process versus what's already laid out for you?
Like pretty much 99%.
Yeah. Like Ella said, it's more like not necessarily engineering, but like on the cusp of like engineering.
Walking by and being able to be like, hey, like that's our project. And it's cool to like show people what we're doing.
Yeah, because it's on display for everyone to see, and you know everyone's like, what are those people doing in there? Now we're in the lab to check out the microplastics research.
You know, makerspace typically has been used to refer to things where it's like 3D printers.
Yeah.
So an eco-design makerspace is really focused on biological processes, ecology. We get wet, we get dirty. Like that space out there is really nice that we can kind of work with water and not have to worry about it. That's not something you see in most makerspaces. This is a group in advanced ecological design who is studying the effects of microplastics in compost. And we're trying to better understand if we're trying to have this circular economy, we're recycling food waste and creating compost. What is the impact of a little bit of plastic making it through?
I'm weighing out glucose, and so we're adding this to the compost to increase microbial activity, so the bacteria kind of have food to eat. And then we're gonna test them using a special machine that's right over there to see whether microplastics have any effect on the microbial activity of those processes.
So they're running an experiment that they designed with my help and the help of the graduate student. And they're carrying the experiment out, they're producing their own data, they have access to different equipment that they can measure different processes.
Come check out some mycelium with me.
So they're experimenting with different species of fungi, different recipes for growing the fungi, and constructing materials using mycelium as part of the experiment.
Half of them are just sawdust and soy hull, and then regular sawdust, and then we're also experimenting with wool.
What do you got going on here? What's the lay of the land?
So we're making myco bricks right now, and we're just experimenting with like different kinds of substrate, like soy hull, like wool, cotton, and like this is just like sawdust, and a couple different kinds of mushrooms, like lion's mane, reishi, and oyster mushrooms. And we're just trying to experiment making potential biomaterials, building materials. There's a lot of cool potential with this stuff.
Mike, you said you were doing some work at home.
Yeah, I actually have a couple finished ones over here. If you want to check.
Yes, please.
Check it out. Look at Myco cube, Myco brick,
Myco bowl.
Myco bowl.
That's so cool. So how long will these last?
Some can last like a year, some could last like 30 days depending on how you use it. Be interesting to see how long that lasts, I guess.
Yeah, like
but,
how the soil would
yeah,
interact with the mycelium.
If I broke this apart, it would like decompose in like 30 days in soil. That's pretty much what we're doing, is making bricks and bowls out of mushrooms. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So our proposal is to establish net zero buildings on UVM's campus, and then to use the solar RECs to account for the electricity load used by buildings.
So we've been quantifying the amount of energy these solar arrays produce, and then we'll declare some Rubenstein vehicles and hopefully some of the buildings mentioned as having net zero electricity using some of the energy from the energy quantification group.
I only, as an environmental science major, I only know so much about renewables and the idea of renewables. So being able to come out and actually see what's happening and how Rubenstein is applying that is amazing.
It's kind of it's more than the Rubenstein. It's a UVM effort that goes into this, because it takes a lot more than our knowledge in the Rubenstein School to know how to do this.
So we're pushing out on the fringes of what's known. Sometimes the projects go perfectly, sometimes they fail and we learn from the failures. But in general, it's exciting for everybody because we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Right? We're trying to figure it out and adapt as we go.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, also being able to learn from Gary, he's got all this technical knowledge, and who knows when that'll be useful.
And like knowing that like the stuff we're doing, I could be using in my future like work next year just seems so cool.
So just really putting everything that I've learned to use.
Yeah, people in this class have published work before in like real scientific journals, so it's kind of exciting.
All right, let's go Rubenstein. So cool. I love Rubenstein.